Okay, so let's build a form based on the customer's table from the example data server connection. To create a new form, right-click the Forms node and select Create New Form. Start by giving your form the name, Customers. And in Servoy, forms are based on a single database table. However, you can also have forms which aren't bound to any table. So let's go ahead and click the button to choose a table for our form. Now I can expand each database server node and find my table, but this is Eclipse, so I'm going to actually use one of its productivity features and type in my resource, the customers table, and you can see after a few keystrokes I locate the table, I hit my down arrow, and I've selected it. Now there's some other options in the dialog, but we have enough information for now. So go ahead and click Finish to create your form. You can see that the form was created and opened in a Form Editor tab. Now I'd like to draw your attention to the Properties view on the right side of the screen, where you can see that there is a list of many design time properties and events for this form. The Properties view is where you will make changes to the properties of any form or any form element. You can also see that a new node was created in the Solution Explorer to represent our new form. Expanding the Form node, you'll get a list of more API objects beneath that form. Now let's add some elements to the form. Start by selecting the Elements menu, where you'll get a list of available components. Choose the Place Field option, and you'll be prompted to select from a list of data providers from the customer's table. Go ahead and select a few. You can use Shift or Control to multi-select. Now before we click OK, be sure to check the Fill Name property. This will give each element a name which can later be used to refer to the element programmatically in a script. I have also checked the Place with Labels option, which will place a label next to the field on the form. Now each element can be individually selected, and you can see that as I select different elements, the properties in the Properties panel are updated to reflect the specific properties to that element. Elements can also be dragged to be resized or moved, and you can also use the arrow keys to move and resize components. If I hold down the Control arrow key, I can move the component, snapping it to the grid, and if I hold down the Control-Shift arrow key, I can resize the component, snapping it to the grid. You can also select multiple components and move and resize them together. One last thing to point out is that the form has outstanding changes indicated by the asterisks on the Form Editor tab. So if we go ahead and click the button to save the form, you'll see that the form elements that I just added show up in the Solution Explorer underneath the Forms element node. Now let's go test this out in the debug client.